All right, guys, so we will go ahead and get started. I know we're just a couple minutes after the hour. I anticipate there'll be a few more people joining us as we lead into this training today. So good afternoon. I'm going to try and slow down a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but my day has been going 100 miles an hour. So I'm going to try and slow down so I don't fire hose you guys with this training. So, all right. Jen Howard. I am the Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for MPMA. We are one of two federal contractors responsible for bringing the Combined Federal Campaign to federal employees. We cover 21 of the 35 CFC zones around the country. Pretty much we cover the entire central continental US with the exception of California, the Eastern seaboard, that DC, North Carolina area, Hawaii, and then overseas campaigns, people that are deployed, and other agencies that happen to be overseas. We cover Alaska, and I think it's about 38 or 39 states in the lower 48. I'm actually from Alaska, and being from Alaska, we call it the lower 48. And so I will constantly and probably forever call it the lower 48, even though today I currently live in Fort Worth, Texas. So bear with me. With me today, Anna Childress and Quinetta Anderson. And then in the background, we do have Bruce Jacobs, who's hanging out with us. These are members of my team, MPMA, just a few of the incredible people that are standing by ready to support you. If you don't know who your account manager is from MPMA, please drop it. In fact, before you do this, let me pause. I'm jumping ahead of myself. If everybody could jump into the chat real quick and tell us what agency you're with, how many years you've been a volunteer for CFC, and what zone, if you don't know your zone name, city, state that you're coming from. So I'm Jen Howard from Fort Worth, Texas. And I happen to have been involved with CFC now for going on 19 years, almost 20. Kind of crazy to say that, but it is true. Some of us have been around for a little while. It really helps us to get to know who's here with us today, helps the team to know who's here, and most importantly, you guys. This is a network for you guys. These are people in your roles from all around the country, those 21 zones that are doing what you're doing, either by volunteering or by being voluntold. And I know some of you are voluntold and do not want to be here today. Welcome. Feel free to raise your hand, thumbs up if you are voluntold. I love making volunteers out of voluntolds. I was a voluntold once. So I promise you by the end of this, you will appreciate the role and you will have some fun, and possibly you will want to come back and serve as a volunteer, not a voluntold. That's my hope for you. So again, in that chat, take a look at it. Look for people from your agency, maybe first timers from your zone, commonalities. This is a network of people that you can lean into and who you could build healthy competitions with, get ideas from. These are colleagues of yours running CFC campaigns all around the country. You are not alone in your role at your office. So my team, Quinetta, Anna, Bruce, and many others have different roles, from support specialists to account managers to area directors. We've got all these different titles. What matters is that we are all here to support you with your campaign. And so if you don't know who from my team is your point of contact, feel free to drop that in the chat. Hey, I don't know who from MPMA I'm supposed to be working with. Please let us know, and we can help you find out who that is, because that person is going to be the person that's going to provide you a lot of information that we're about to talk about, from reviewing your DAO to your results to where you're getting emails from, etc. You want to make sure that you have that person maybe even dialed into your cell phone. I know Quinetta, she talks to her people all the time, regularly. I'm sure Anna does as well, and Bruce also. You want to know who from my team is your person. We want to make this role easy on you. We want you to be successful. and we want you to have fun. And then at the end of it, after we've helped you do the lift, we want to give you all the credit and see you get nationally recognized, receive awards, and again, hey, voluntold, come back next year as volunteers because you liked working with us that much. And at the end of it, we all did our part to leave the world better than we found it by participating in the CFC. So let's dive into campaign management. Campaign management. Our team, what we do is we provide training in segments. We do management, marketing, events, reports, and awards, reporting and awards. We don't want to give you all of it at once because that is the fire hose effect. If we were to give it all to you at once, it's way too much information. So today we're just going to focus on management. Basically, how do you manage a campaign? It's kind of CFC 101, if you will, the framework of CFC. So what is it, especially for first timers? Also, some of these slides are going to look familiar. There's a CFC briefing deck that will show you where to find it for you guys to use in introducing the CFC to your colleagues, explaining what the CFC is to our colleagues. This is one of your roles. This is your primary role, is introducing the CFC to your colleagues. So what is the CFC? The Combined Federal Campaign. 60 years of giving. It is a tradition in the federal family. $8.7 billion has been raised by federal employees simply inviting their colleagues to give. That's what it is. It's one federal employee saying, hey, federal employee, would you like to contribute? Would you like to give back? And so, and there's over 5,000 charities to choose from each year, which is pretty incredible, right? $8.7 billion to countless charities, countless causes. There is something for everybody, I promise, whether it's food, housing, veterans, mental health, environment, animals, the list goes on. There is something for everybody in this book. So what I want you to know is that, especially for my volunteers, try not to think of your role as asking your colleagues for money. That's not what this is. You are extending an opportunity to them to give back to something that they care about. CFC is simply a pathway to give. It's easy, payroll deduction, $5 a paycheck to the charity of your choice, adds up to a significant amount, makes a huge difference. The collective impact of the federal workforce, $8.7 billion raised. Pretty incredible, right? So how does it work? So we talk about our cause. We figure out, what matters to us. What are we passionate about? And I'm going to guess that chances are every one of us, I know I do, have had life show up on your doorstep. Something has crossed your path that has impacted your life, your family's life, your neighbor's life at some point or another that has made you think differently, act differently, respond differently to circumstances, to people. It's made you show up for people. Think about those things. What is the things that make you tick that you're passionate about that matters to you and your colleagues? Once you've decided what your cause is, and chances are you have several of them, you're going to make your pledge. So one of your guys' pieces of homework today is to go to the website, givecfc.org, and we'll bounce over there in a minute. Quinetta or Anna, if you guys want to drop in the chat the link for the website, givecfc.org, there's a donate button that you'll click on. You'll go to that and at least set up your profile today so that you know how the system works. You don't necessarily have to make your pledge today. You could make your pledge today. Feel free to do so. But definitely get in there and make sure you know how that system works. Because once you launch your campaign and start inviting people to participate, inevitably you're going to have questions. You want to make sure you've ridden the bike first, right? So get in there, set up your profile, make sure you know how it works, search for charities, make your pledge. And then what happens? Charities start receiving money and the world is left better than we found it. Important to note, I'm going to give you 2 points of information here that are important for you to know. One, the Combined Federal Campaign by regulation operates 1 September through 15 January. That's our open season, okay? So this is the period of time that we are actively inviting our colleagues to give. That was 1 September through 15 January. Second, People who give payroll deduction, and that is 96% of donors are going to use payroll deduction as their method for giving. Payroll deductions will not start until your first full pay period after 15 January. There are many pay centers in the government. You guys have different pay centers, whether you're DFAS, IBC, USDA has a pay center. There's different pay centers that are paying different federal agencies. They have a different schedule. Your agency's first full pay period after 15 January, when the site closes, that's when the first deduction begins. So if you hear people say, oh, I can't right now, now's not the time. Hey, pledge now, give later. Payroll deductions don't start until after 15 January. So it's a great talking point, honestly, that you have in your pocket for people that may not be able to give or think they can't give right now because Christmas, because cost of, heating in the winter, what have you, right? Pledge now, give later. 96% of people are going to do payroll deduction. For those people that do those one-time credit card gifts, yeah, those do come out immediately. So do expect that. But those are usually smaller amounts. And people usually, when they enter their credit card for a one-time transaction, are expecting a transaction at that time. Payroll deduction starts after the 15th of January. So campaign coordinators, what do you do? As a coordinator, your job is to, what are we here for? Management, to manage the campaign. You are managing the efforts, building a plan, making a plan, working the plan for your campaign at your office. You're going to determine, do you need a team of people? How do you know if you need a team? Let's step back and let's think about the size of our organization. Do you have 50 people, 100 people? Sometimes I have people that come to this table that are responsible for 6,000 people. And I'm like, hey, you might want a co-coordinator, somebody who's you or two more of you to help divide and conquer the leadership role that you have. Then go get your key worker team. Key workers are going to help you guys canvass the units, the directorates, the lines of businesses. There's a different set of terminology for every federal agency, right? And CFC actually touches every federal agency exactly the same. It's the only employee benefit that does this. No other employee benefit touches every federal agency the same in that you guys have your own, retirement or healthcare plans or different components of benefits that you guys, again, different pay centers, right? CFC is one giving site, one system. Everybody uses the same one. It's a single source, a single pathway for giving back, which is pretty cool. So at least we've got one thing that we're all using. So you guys are going to recruit key workers. If you do build a team, my team will train your people. Leverage us. We're here to support you. We will come out and train for you. We will ask you first, hey, how do you want to run your campaign? Tell us what you're going to do. Tell us your dates. Tell us your goals. If you have paper, because some of our agencies, employees don't sit behind the desk. There are federal employees that don't have federal emails assigned to them, believe it or not. There are federal employees that don't use a computer, that they're in the field, right? So we do still have federal employees that are out in the field, and therefore they're going to need a piece of paper. If you're going to have paper that you're disseminating, are you going to have a day of the week that you collect that paper, that you're checking in with your key workers? Think about your plan. So that's what we're here today with management, is to start thinking about and building that plan. Get your leadership support. At the end of the day, leadership sets the tone. We all know this. We know this in our office, no matter what it is. If leadership ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, right? I mean, that's just the way it goes. So get your leadership involved, especially voluntold. Go back and tell them, hey, you voluntold me. Will you please help me? Can you send out an announcement for the campaign? Can you send out a mid-campaign message and a thank you message? Get them to commit something back to you. They told you to be here. Get their buy-in, right? There are ways for them to do this without it being coercive. CFC has already written all the scripts for you. We've got it all. We're going to show you where you can find all that. And again, build a team. Many hands make light work. So once you identify your key workers, again, we can come out and help train them for you. Think about the people you're recruiting, how you're recruiting them. Do you have ample coverage over your agency? And make sure you recruit people that people like. Don't recruit the people nobody likes, okay? Yes, yes, exactly, John, that's you. Everybody's going to recruit John to their team. All right, so what's your number one task? It's not just your number one task as a coordinator. It's your key workers' number one task also in their role. It is simply to invite your colleagues to give through CFC. It's a pathway for giving. You're inviting them. 100% contact is a goal for each of you. Not 100% participation. That would be coercive. 100% contact is not coercive. You're simply educating them, providing them access to education about and the opportunity to give back using this employee benefit, the CFC, to give back to something they care. So your number one goal is to ensure that everybody has received the opportunity to give. And it's really important to remember, guys, that, we provide weekly emails, we provide that are, we send them to you and all you have to do is hit forward, right? We make it very easy for you to promote and publicize the campaign, whether it's through materials or the emails we send you. That's promoting and publicizing. That is not making the ask, that personal ask of humanizing this campaign and saying, hey, thanks for coming to that meeting. Thanks for sitting in on that call. Did you have any questions about the CFC? Can I tell you why it matters to me? And humanize it, talking about the campaign. That's the ask you're looking for. So inviting your colleagues to give is your absolute number one goal and your key workers' goal. So get ready, that cause, that purpose, that thing that makes you tick. Get ready to develop your 2 to 3 minute elevator speech so that you can easily help people understand quickly why the CFC matters to you. For example, this is a true story. I was probably 3 years into working with the CFC and started building a website. This was in the early days of CFC, earlier days. My dad became sick. He had taken a fall, was in the hospital, and a doctor told us that he had heart failure. And heart failure, unlike cancer, is something that you can't predict. You don't know if he has 30 minutes, 30 days, 30 months, unlike cancer. But it was pretty bad. He said, you need to be prepared. So my dad went into the hospital. He was quickly elevated to a critical floor. And on Father's Day, just a couple, probably 10 days or so into his hospital stay, I don't think he knew it was Father's Day, but he looked at me and he said, I just want to go home to die. All right, Dad, let's make this happen, right? Let's do this. So I went into that hospital director's office and I said, what do I have to do to take my father home to take care of him? And he looked at me and said that I wasn't capable of taking care of my father at home. I couldn't provide him the care that he needed. Choice words in my head, of course, right? Very upset. A few months earlier, I had helped nonprofits complete a CFC application, right? And I thought to myself, that hospice organization, Jeff, I bet he'll know what I can do. He might know what I can do, right? Maybe he'll know something. And so I called him up and he's like, oh, Jen, I thought I got everything right. I thought everything was right. Is my application okay? And I said, Jeff, everything's fine. I just have a question. This is my situation. What are my options? What can I do? And he said, will you be there tomorrow? And I'm like, I'm always here, right? I'll be there in the morning. So he shows up in the morning with a packet of papers. He has me complete them, sign them. He walks into that same director's office, overrides him. And that day I take my dad home. He puts a Comfort One release form. I hang it up in the entryway of my home. I would take my dad home. And 6 days later, my dad would die in my arms of heart failure. That's all he wanted. CFC made that possible for me. Pretty cool, huh? So, and guess what? Today, even though I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, I still give to that very same organization in Anchorage, Alaska that brought my father home. So pretty cool. All right, so let's get back to, so get to know, again, think about, and I have other ones, guys. I have plenty other ones. So think about ones that you have and be willing to be vulnerable and share that. Share your stories with your colleagues. You'll build relationships. You'll strengthen your your friendships and your work relationships in the office. I promise you, you will. And you'll do a lot of good in the process of inviting your colleagues to give. Plus, they'll start telling you stuff that maybe you never wanted to know. That's also true. So get ready for that. Account demographic and campaign plan form. If you haven't seen this or completed it, please let us know in the chat so that we can get you a copy of this. And if you're from EPA, forgive me for saying this, but I suggest printing this out, actually, because this is kind of like a roadmap. It keeps us on track. It's going to help you build a plan and stay on track with your plan. So the things that are on here, you're going to want to complete it and then provide it to your account manager on my team so that they can help work the plan with you. Things that are on here are stuff like your public affairs person, promoting your campaign. Do you want digital stuff? Do you want email? Do you have an intranet site, in-person, social media? How do you publicize your campaign? How do you know the answer to this? Think about how your agency communicates with its people. Every agency communicates differently with its people. Some agencies use Facebook, even as a means of communication, believe it or not. And some agencies are like, absolutely not, we don't allow Facebook. What works for one agency doesn't work for another agency. We're very aware of that. So trust that if we say something or we suggest something and it doesn't work for you, we know that it might work for somebody else. So take what you can from these trainings. When are you going to start your campaign? How many key workers do you have? Do you need training? Would you like us to provide you training? Campaign events, how many would you like? Do you want to have a volunteer activity? In person, virtual, both? Are there causes that are important to your organization? If you're FEMA, you might want to have a week where you talk about disaster-related causes. If you're HUD, you might want to talk about housing. If you are DOD, you might want to celebrate veterans that first week of November, right? Think about those things, those that align with your agency, or think about things that have impacted people within your agency. If you know that somebody in your office has experienced X, Y, or Z, you might say, hey, we're going to do a week where we talk about this, to bring awareness around that matter. You might ask them first if they're okay with that, just to make sure they're comfortable. They might really appreciate it, or they might be really uncomfortable with it. You never know, right? So make a plan, work a plan. Organization, again, you want to think about how many employees you have, your directorates, your units, the posture of your agency. Are you in person? Are you virtual? Do you have a combination thereof? What are the other challenges with your organization? And if you have them, please communicate them to us, to your account manager, so that we can be sensitive to them. We want to make sure that we are sensitive to what's going on with your agency. If something's going on, we don't know unless you tell us. Michelle Warner on our team, she covers our Southeast Tri-States and Mississippi Delta and Greater Tennessee Valley with Quinetta. And oh my gosh, Hurricane Helene just ripped through 3 of our zones, and it's not good, guys. So we had a bunch of coordinators trained, excited, ready to go. And now we need to be sensitive to them, And here's the thing, CFC is full circle. These charities, this book that we have, this list of charities, yes, they said yes, they paid to be in this book. Just so you know, they pay to be in this campaign. They pay for your campaign, the charities do. They want you to use CFC as a pathway to give back to them. Absolutely. That's what they're hoping for. And they know that hard times fall on all of us. So whether you come across that in your office, in a situation like we're seeing in those zones where there's just sheer devastation, remember, when life shows up on our doorstep, nonprofits are standing right by, ready to help. So that resource guide that you have is a list of support and help. So if you come into a conversation and you're sharing your why, and somebody says, hey, man, my mom has cancer and this is what I'm going through, or, my daughter has leukemia, or whatever it is that happens to come across your pathway, and you hear about somebody that's struggling, pull that guide out or pull it up on your phone, or get them connected to those resources and say, don't worry about giving right now. Worry about looking at this list, because these nonprofits want to help you. That's what they're here for. Nonprofits were created to bridge the gap of services in a community where government couldn't and really shouldn't reach, right? That's what the nonprofit was created to do, was to help. So if you come across people who need help, remember that you have that resource guide, and there's lots of organizations ready to help. So once you've got that demographic form and you've kind of got the framework of your plan, one of the things on there is to talk about, again, getting to know how many your lines of businesses and your directorates or your units or what have you. DAO, you're going to hear us say this a lot, the DAO, Department, Agency, Office, Structure. Department, we get it. Agency, we get it. Office structure, this is reporting out. So department and agency structure, this connects payroll. This is how, when you guys give through payroll deduction, this is how they know to deduct the payment from your paycheck to pay the charity. This is payroll processing. The office structure allows us to report out. And so you get healthy competition. In this example, you're seeing EPA Region 6, which happens to be in Dallas, Texas. And you can see here they have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines of businesses. And I have no idea what these terms mean. If you're with EPA, you look at it and it makes sense to you, right? MSD, SEMD, they know what these things mean. These are their lines of business. And in the parentheses, the CFC, HLL, Q3U, C8Q, MON, these are their office codes. This is how we ensure that when people give, their pledges are tallied correctly so that the reports are accurate. So you know how much has been raised. You know that, hey, we have 17 donors that has raised, $20,000 already. So it's really important that you know your DAO, you've reviewed it, and that you're prepared to promote and publicize it. Where do you get your DAO? From your account manager. They have it and they're going to provide it to you. So how do we give? Giving online, we've got a couple different methods. I'll show you the slides real quick and then I'll jump to the website. So you've got 4 ways to give. We've got the online system. We've got an app. Yep, there's an app for it. When they first came out with the CFC app, I thought that was the stupidest thing ever. I thought nobody's going to want the CFC app. And then guess what? I love my CFC app. Go figure. Of course, I would put my foot in my mouth with that one. It's pretty easy to use. Once you set up your profile online and you download the app and log into it, it's one of those things where all I have to do is put my face up to it because I got facial recognition and I can give to a charity in one click. It's so fast, right? My bank account doesn't exactly love it, but I get on these calls and I hear charities speak and I get inspired. So it makes giving very easy. So it is a great way to promote giving. We do have text to donate. That is a feature that is available as well. And we have the good old paper pledge form, of course. And all of these things you can get access through on the website. So let me just come over here to the website and let's see, share this screen.
You're doing a fabulous job. No one has any questions, really.
Seriously? Or they're just tired and need more coffee. It's probably what it is. But thank you. Please, questions are obviously welcome. So, and thank you, Quinetta. That was very kind of you. This is your website, givecfc.org. Again, make sure you go to this today. You'll see at the top, they have 3 different stakeholder categories. So you got the donor, you got the campaign worker, that's you guys, and you got the charities. Those are your 3 stakeholders. You've got an About tab and a Help tab here. Your About tab has quite a bit of information from local zones. Oh, my mouse is being funny. There you go. Annual calendars. Recommending a charity is probably a good thing to know that that's there. If you hear somebody that says, oh, I want to give, but my charity isn't in there. Well, come let us know who that charity is so we can recruit them for next year. And oh, by the way, that's an animal organization. Did you know there's other animal organizations in the book to include local ones? Be prepared to answer that question, right? And then, of course, there's a help tab with FAQs and contact us. So when you come to the campaign workers tab, This is where you're going to find everything you need to know about being a campaign worker. And it's a lot. It's pretty overwhelming. So I say take it kind of in bits and pieces. When you come here, you've got this bar across the top that'll take you directly to what you need. So if you're interested in, gosh, she talked about that paper pledge card. There was some summary report thing. Where am I supposed to send those again? You can click here. There's the address. You can download the pledge card. There's the summary report. It's literally spelled out how to do it, right? So it's pretty straightforward, very simple, but it is a lot of information. So I do appreciate that there's a lot of information here. You can get to the cause areas. We talked about CFC being based on causes, and we've got animal welfare, arts and humanities, children and family, etc. They've built these without dates so that you can make them your own. You can decide what weeks you want to promote what. That said, when we send our weekly emails out to you, we're backing into our sample timeline here. So when you come to the sample timeline, you'll see that next week is disaster and crisis response. So, hey, for those of you that have heard people say we want to support the hurricane victims, the people are wanting to rally behind that. The message that came out today, if you didn't get it, put it in the chat, please. Let us know if you got the message or not. If you didn't get our weekly message today, it comes out today for next week. It does have a story about disaster crises response. It's an easy way for you to promote and let people know, hey, if you want to rally behind this hurricane effort, next week we are promoting, celebrating the cause, give help. And so this is the sample timeline that we will be following. So you can see that is here as well. Let me back up one. All right, so back to the, let's see, back up here to how to give. So we were on, this is what we were going over. So again, online giving system, you got that paper pledge form, text to donate, the giving app. Here's your donate button on givecfc.org. When you click on this donate button, it's going to bring you to your secure giving system. Again, this is the site that every federal employee uses to give through CFC. This actually includes also retirees and contractors. I'm a contractor and I give. So you come here and you can see here also, guys, on this homepage, there's the apps. So if you want to get your apps, you can download them right here. There's the 2024 video. You can learn more, search charities, etc. So they do have some information here. And there's that date, September 1 through January 15th, showing you the open season. So you'll click on sign in or create your profile. We do have two-factor authentication. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this because this is government, right? Login.gov. You'll have to go through and accept. All right. And then once you're in, I'm going to go to my profile. So when I spoke about that DAO, Department Agency Office, this is what I'm talking about. So Department Agency Office. It's really important that your donors get this right, again, so that payroll can properly deduct and process their pledge, and so that for reporting purposes, these pledges show up on your reports. Also, important for you guys to know, we do not know who gave from your offices, and we don't know how much they gave or who they gave to. We get no PII, zero. All we can tell you is that you have 17 people that gave X amount of dollars. Okay, that's the kind of details we get. We can see that, oh, you had 2 people give through Venmo. You had 1 person use Google. You had somebody send in a check. You have 2 paper pledge cards and 17 online pledges. We can see data points like that, but we can't see any PII information. So just be assured of that. That 6-digit code on that spreadsheet that I showed you with the DAO, where we talked about CFC code QR73PW or whatever it is, right? That's this piece right here. If you know it, you promote it, you publicize it, they populate it here. It populates this for them and it makes it really easy on them. So they're not sitting here searching, right? for the right office, possibly getting it wrong. So knowing your code is really helpful to the donor. And if you end up doing a paper pledge card, you can even go back to the paper pledge card and you can pre-populate it. So if you have an intranet, or if you end up emailing these things out, or you have an event and you want to print a couple and have them available, pre-populate this with whatever I'm just guessing, right? Making up a crazy code, right? See how it's fillable? Like pre-populate it and then save it. So again, people don't have to fill out that part of the form. All they got to do is put their name, email. If they're doing payroll, they do have to put their full social security number. Sorry, you don't want to do it? Go give online. That's why you have a secure site, right? That's why we have that. There is the charity codes. They'll have to enter their charity codes, how much they want to give, etc. So pretty simple. Just important to note that if you end up collecting any paper pledge cards, full social security number, signature required. On this giving system, also, I will show you again, you can search for charities. So this is your search engine where you can come in here and you can put anything from just, I want to know a food bank. You can search by a city. You can come in and look at specific zones. You can come over here and look for volunteer opportunities. If you want to just focus on volunteer, see somebody in uniform, you can come here and say, hey, you know, is there anybody at Joint Base Lewis McChord, right? Let's search that. And you can search for, looks like we didn't have anybody apply from that installation. But you have different ways that you can search. You can search by cause. You can come up to housing and shelter. One thing to know is if you're playing with this search engine and it's not generating any results, make sure you hit this reset button and clear out your results. That's very important that you do that as well. So just so you know, there is a place to search for charities, find a charity as well. And then you can come in here and see your tax receipts. You can see your history of giving. Once you have an account established, when I log back in each year, it says, hey, do you want to keep your pledge the same and give to the same charities? One click and you're done. If a charity has dropped out, it'll say, great, except this charity is not there. Would you like to add a different one or just allocate your money to the ones that are still in? So it's a very easy, intuitive, simple process once you get your account established. And come April 14th, when it's tax time, oh gosh, I need that my tax receipt, right, for my contribution, because you have that above the line $300 per person. Right here, come print it out. You can come grab it, download it, email it over to your accountant, upload it to Hewitt or what, Jackson Hewitt or whatever, and you can get it right here. You don't have to call somebody or track it down or try to remember where you put that receipt. You have an account, a profile. So, all right, let's go back to the presentation. All right, so we talked about the paper pledge card already. I do tend to kind of jump around. The summary sheet goes with the paper pledge card, and there was a link for this on that page, handling paper pledge cards. If you collect a bunch of paper pledge cards to mail them in, please use this summary sheet. This summary sheet is, consider it like a packaging slip that you're going to send with them. You're going to put your name and information, that DAO information. Make sure you put your zip code also on pledge forms. You must have zip codes on pledge forms, please. When these pledge forms are processed, guys, the processing center will not change or alter or enter information that's not on there, right? They're going to enter it exactly as is. And so if you don't enter a zip code, then your pledge isn't going to come back into that zone report. You got to have that zip code on there. So make sure that you're looking and confirming that zip codes are in here. You'll tally up, oh, I have, 3 payroll deduction pledges for $1,400. I got 2 checks for $250. Maybe there's 2 confidential pledges in there because people didn't want you to see their pledge card. Perfect. They can fold it up, put it in a sealed envelope, and you can just slip it in and you never saw it. You have two that you don't know what's in there. And then you're going to mail it off to the CCA, the CFC Processing Center in Madison, Wisconsin. I've been there. They're pretty awesome. Keep a copy of this summary sheet for your records. We send weekly reports out that have results on them. Typically, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for them to show up on the report. If you wait till the end of the campaign, though, the backlog will get real and it will take even longer. So do not wait to send these in. Send the paper in as you get them, if you get them. One, you don't want to hold on to PII. Nobody does. And two, you don't want to wait till the end for them to get processed, okay? Sorry about that. You'd think people would know I'm training right now, wouldn't you, Quinetta? So you'll want to make sure that you've kept a copy of this for your records, send them in as you get them, and then check your report. If you have any questions, hey, Quinetta, this stuff isn't showing up. I still don't see those 8 paper pledge cards. They're not on my report. And so they call my cell. It's still not on my report, Quinetta. Let's give it one more week. And if we don't see it, then hey, we're going to call up to Madison and we're going to ask the question, did you keep a copy of that summary page? Why, yes, I did. Perfect. That's exactly what you need for when you call. So we'll walk you through that process. Typically, we don't have any issues. It's usually just that backlog if they have too many paper pledge cards and they're behind. And that's usually just at the end. So in addition to giving our monetary contributions, you can now also give volunteer hours. So that's another way people can give. Also, if you're going to have a team of key workers, that team that you built to help run your campaign, consider having an activity, a group activity to launch your campaign. Get your volunteers motivated, right? That's a great idea. And I promise you, if you've never volunteered before, please do it. Please take the opportunity and do it through CFC. Report your hours. It's so easy to do. In fact, I'll just jump right back over here to this screen. And I'm sure there's a way to like switch screens, more easily. I'm pretty technologically inept, actually. It may not seem like that's true, but I promise you I am. When you come over here to the homepage, let's see. See how it says manage volunteer hours here? Report volunteer hours. It's so easy. You can do an individual or a group, what you did, your code, you enter your DAO, how many volunteer hours, how many people in volunteer hours, and you submit it. It's a very easy form to complete. If you're already volunteering for organizations, see if the charity is in here, enter your hours. If you're not already volunteering, 1, consider doing a group project, or 2, just consider doing it even with your friends or your family. When we volunteer, man, there is something about it that when you walk away from a volunteer project, you feel so incredible. I mean, it really does fill your cup and empower you and motivate you, humble you. It is such an incredible experience. And I promise you, whether it's for you as an individual or your team, you will ignite motivation in your team of key workers if you can arrange a volunteer opportunity for them. I promise you.
Hey, Jen.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have a really good question in the chat in regards to charities. It's asking that if the organization's category is unknown, how would people be able to search those CFC charities that don't have a category if they're searching by a cause area?
If they, not many of them will put unknown. It's pretty rare that we see that, but it has happened. If they put unknown, I mean, I guess you could search by unknown and see what pops up. I would just try to search for them in a different way than by cause. Like I would say maybe search for them by a locality, like where they're located. If you're looking for an organization in a city, or by trying to think of what else, what other metrics you'd be looking at. Their name, of course, right?
I had that to happen, and guess what? That old-fashioned index still works. So if they click on the charity list and just go to the alphabetical index, if they know the name of the charity, and they are approved and they're there.
Okay, so there you go. Then that's what, so on the, see, can you see the pledge system again? Let's see. Oops. There we go. I think I'm trying to be too tech savvy. I was trying to like not stop sharing and just like, anyway, I was trying to be too, so when you come to givecfc.org, I'll just show you where you find the books, right? And I don't know if our books, so we have our own local books. I don't know if they're up here yet. Let me see. Yes. They're up here. Hey team, guess what? Our books are up here. Okay, so for our zones, we produced individual zone books. So if you're from Alaska, you can see this is your Alaska charity list. So every zone, you're going to come to about, go to the local zones, find your zone, and search for it, right? Which is pretty cool. Another way, if you're
And
under the,
we're not seeing your screen.
Yeah.
Jen.
oh gosh,
Still on the PowerPoint.
go for it.
Good one, John.
It's not you, John. It's not you, John.
Told you I'm taking, now can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
The website?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, told you, I'm not the one. It's operator error every time. Okay, so under about local zones, this is where you see the map and you can find all our zones. And so for example, let's see, Greater Tennessee, where are you, Greater Tennessee? Oh, there looks like there, oh, there it is. There's your book, Quinetta. So the charity list is populated on this page. So every zone's got their page on it now. And then you can get to Quinetta Anderson, Michelle, yay. So this is where you find us, is under the About Local Zones tab. And if you want to just isolate your local zone page or book, you can, or you can come to the campaign workers section, campaign materials. And this is where you find that charity list as well, the big book that has every zone in it. And this is the index that Quinetta was talking about. See, this book has every zone listed in it. You wouldn't want to print this book, guys. This is a massive, massive book. But when you come down to the index, let's see, where's the index? Here we go. So this is what Quinetta was saying, the good old index. So you can come here and search, right? That help? Yep, perfect. So thank you for that. All right, let's see. Let me get back to my, all right. And I know we're coming up to the top of the hour, so I will try to be brief, be bright, and be gone for you guys here. I'm sure you guys, we try to keep, we do our topics, our trainings by topic to keep them brief, bright, and done. We're just talking about managing a campaign. Like what are the nuts and bolts, right? So how do you have an outstanding campaign? Are you guys seeing the presentation again or no? No. Now,
I see the slides.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Bruce, in the background. Bruce in the background. Background, Bruce. All right. So 3 ways to have an outstanding campaign. Obviously, there's many ways to have an outstanding campaign, but we're going to talk a little bit about inspiring our colleagues, promoting it, and involving leadership. So, and we've touched on a lot of this already, so I'll just kind of breeze through some of this, but, you know, sending those weekly emails that we're providing you is one way to promote them and inspire people, talking about it. There is no greater way to inspire your colleagues than sharing your personal story, talking about the CFC, extending your experiences to your colleagues. And then having events, kickoff, mid-campaign, maybe you want to have a charity fair, maybe you want to have a virtual event. We're doing a pet contest on social media. If you don't know what your Facebook page is yet, and you like to dress up your pet for Halloween, please let us know in the chat what your zone is. We'll drop that Facebook link in there. We're going to have a contest on social media. There's lots of different ways to have events and to have fun. If you need ideas, people in this group or your account managers, we have the ideas and we'll even host events. We will help you. You're not in this alone. This is our job. We eat it for breakfast. We want to make it easy and fun on you. Fun for you. Fun on you. Promoting the campaign is important, and we talk a lot about this in the marketing session. In the marketing session, we go over things like posters, digital, printed materials. We have printed materials, guys. If you haven't yet requested them, feel free to drop into the chat. Where do I get my printed materials? we have them and we are ready to send them to you. They're ready to go. We just got to get them sent to your address. So please let us know in the chat if you need your printed materials sent to you. There's happy cards. There's lots of different resources, again, both digital and printed. And chances are all of you need a combination of these things because you have digital boards and you have ways that you're electronically communicated. And then you also have ways that you are, touching people with paper. So again, think about how you're communicating, publicizing with your employees, and make sure that you're touching all of those opportunities and have a relationship with your public affairs communications department. Not that kind of relationship. I mean, like, this kind of relationship. Professional. Sorry, that came out bad. Sorry about that. Work with them. Work with your public affairs and communications department. That's what I meant to say. Ooh, it's been a day. I think I need coffee. All right. Involve your leadership again. We've touched on that. Set a goal, track your progress. If you don't know what you raised last year, talk to your account manager. Again, they have this information. Ask them how many people gave from your office, how much was raised, so you can set a goal that's attainable. Send out messages of support, get leadership to announce your campaign, get them to participate in events. I've seen leaders straight up take pies to the face and do all kinds. I saw one last year shave his head. True story, man. It was pretty cool. I was like, that's pretty awesome, actually. The stuff people will do. So, you have not because you ask not. Ask. Chances are they might just as well get involved and do something kind of crazy for you. So, and again, where do you find all of these resources? givecfc.org. That's your friend. At the end of the campaign, my team, we're going to come around to do some closeout activities with you. We're going to say, hey, did you submit all your paper? Did you report out to your leadership and to your organization about your results? Did you recognize your volunteers? Did you have a closeout event? What about a continuity book? Hopefully somebody gave you guys something, maybe not, about how the campaign was ran last year at your location. If not, go find that person and say, hey, do you have anything? Can you tell me what worked, what didn't work? Get some information and start a book. Start something, build a continuity book. The next person will thank you so much for it. And then, of course, we're also going to ask for your feedback because the only way we get better is by you giving us your honest feedback. So we look forward to collecting lessons learned, what worked, what didn't work, and how can we improve this campaign in 2025 for you. We do have social media, so do stay connected to us. 3 of the social media links, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn, are standard accounts, just one account that you can follow. And then Facebook is a local CFC zone. So you want to find your own North Texas, Alaska, Greater Tennessee Valley, Mountain States, etc. Oops, I don't know what I was doing. These are my area directors. You can't see Bruce Jacobs on the screen because he has his camera off, which is fine. You don't need to turn it on, Bruce. But he is, oh, there he is. Hi, Bruce. He is our Western area director. And so these are the year-round people that work with us, but in every zone we have somebody, just like Anna's here, Quinetta's here. They work in multiple zones across the country for us. Again, we have people standing by ready to support you, to make this easy on you, and to ensure that you have a successful campaign. So, questions? Anybody have questions?
Well, I appreciate it. And I think most of our government agencies that work with non-governmental agencies will see their names on that list. And so I know from special ops working with a lot of NGOs in Africa and the Arctic, I could see some of their names on the list. So you can tell people about the experiences of how you've seen them in action, out in the field. And what it costs to do so. And so some people are more willing to focus on those kind of things as opposed to just giving out money to an organization. And I guess the last thing is you got to believe. If you're a part of this program, you got to believe that charity works. Obviously, I'm wearing my American Cancer Society and my breast cancer awareness for this month due to the fact is also am on the committee for that charity as well. So you got to believe.
Amen, John. Absolutely. That is the truth. Absolutely. Well, on that note, thank you all. Thank you so much for what you do for our country as public servants with your agencies. We know personally in our roles, being able to work with all federal agencies, what it takes to run our nation and how much it takes and how incredible it is. And the work that you do, how invaluable it is in your 9-to-5 daily grinds. Thank you. It is incredible to learn and to witness the public servants that we get to work with day in and day out. And then to have you guys go above and beyond and serve as coordinators to raise money for nonprofits. Thank you from the bottoms of our hearts, and thousands of nonprofits, communities, individuals that you'll never see, but I promise the work that you're about to embark upon will change them for the good. Thank you for that. So if you need anything, you know where to find us. We're here to help you, and happy CFC.
And I'd like to thank John and Christopher for staying on camera the whole entire time. So please put your address in the mailbox. I'd like to send you one of these CFC mugs. Thank you so much.
Yay, look at that.
Put your address in the chat, please. Or email anna@mpmay.com.
Yeah, you
Yours
could
is
also,
just easy. Yours is just easier, Anna.
I agree, right? When not everybody will get that wrong, right?
That's fine.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys. Have a great day.